Since I was a kid, I've been the G. If I was you, I could have won. I'm so tired of her body. She just swallowing out my day. Ever since I was a G, I've been the G. Should never know she wanted me.
Good evening everyone and welcome to round 2 of the Supercars NZ MRP GTE Championship, coming to you live on the Broadcasting Lounge. Tonight we're set for a blistering showdown at the legendary MoSport Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, one of the quickest and most uncompromising circuits in the world of sim racing. Round 1 gave us wheel-to-wheel action, bold strategy calls, and a field that proved this championship is going to be a thriller from start to finish. But MoSport offers a whole new test. Narrow racing lines, blind crests, huge commitment to the high-speed sectors, and absolutely no forgiveness if you step beyond the edge. These GT3 machines thrive here, fast, planted, and built for maximum attack. Expect gutsy overtakes down the Mario Andretti straight, crafty setups through Moss Corner, and plenty of side-by-side moments as the drivers push for every point they can get. I'm your host for tonight's broadcast, and joining me in the lounge, as always, is the man with sharp race insight, sharp wit, and maybe a few sharper predictions, a man who would never miss a race at MoSport, Corey Kitchen. Corey, welcome in. What are you expecting from the field here at MoSport tonight?
Hey, yeah, wow. It's the field. It's one without one Stefan McCartan. He's decided to step away from the GTEs for the season, and that's left it wide open to some other guys to get out there and have some fun. And it's only after one round. It's still pretty tight in the championship points, so I'm looking forward to seeing who's going to do the talking and who's going to do the walking tonight, Shano. My favourite track, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, all the way in Canada. Let's go.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Here is a look at what we've got in store tonight, round 2 here at MoSport, and you can see the track map on the bottom right. Looks a little bit like some form of misshapen, maybe headless animal. You can make up your mind what sort of animal there. But anyway, 19 degrees ambient temperature and 75% humidity out there. Partly cloudy, so not a huge amount of cloud cover, but when that sun goes behind the clouds, there could be some good conditions out there as we do roll over into the gridding period now, and we can run through our grid. Hogan Shrimpton has taken pole position for tonight. He's going to line up alongside Mitchell Sparrow on the front row there. Sean McNamara and Aaron Goodrick make up the second row. And then we've got Rob Carwood in fifth from Blake Greenhill, Wayne Hartnell and Steve Darren in eighth. Rolling back to Steve Vella and Leith Swinney rounding out the top 10, then James McKenzie, Matthew Gerard, Dane Nodiff, Josh Thompson, Grant Bristow and Tom McCall. 17th is Dan Turner, 18th Alan Scott, Peter Vanderberg and Jono Gibson in race control tonight, so will not be taking the grid. So that is our grid for tonight. 18 starters lining up. Not one of the biggest grids, but plenty of cars for some exciting racing, and we are going to see a full formation lap here, so most will obviously not featuring the option for a shortened formation lap, so we're going to run a lap behind the safety car as we get ready to get this race underway.
Yeah, the top four as they sit on the grid are the top four in the championship. Mitchell Sparrow with a slight lead over Hogan Shrimpton, then Aaron Goodrick, then Sean McNamara are your top four. They're also the top four for this race, so looking forward to a tight battle, and we'll see who's going to come out on top. Mitchell Sparrow ran away with it last week, didn't he? And yeah, let's see if he can get reined in today, Shano.
Yeah, well, Hogan getting up over him in qualifying, taking pole position. So epic qualifying performance from Hogan there, and that would suggest that he can take it to Mitch Sparrow. I hope that transpires, and I hope that hasn't just come about because Mitchell's left a little bit on the table in qualifying. I hope we're going to see an epic battle out there between these two guys, and potentially Sean McNamara and Aaron Goodrick getting involved as well.
Yeah, 6 BMWs, 2 Corvettes, 1 Porsche and 1 Ferrari is your top 10. 1 Porsche being Blake Greenhall. Welcome back. A bit of a excursion overseas for Balaki, and good to see him back in the saddle.
Yeah, Blake came to the Supercars NZ Bathurst weekend at Simplex in Auckland, and then immediately after the race, like literally as the checkered flag flew, he was out to catch his flight to Europe. And he's been there since, but he's back in the country now and back on the grid.
Yeah, imagine that after Bathurst, heading to the airport hot. Yes, that expression coming in hot to a whole new level. We'll see some drafting action happening down the straight tonight for sure, and looking for people trying to get a pass done on the straight before they get up to this tricky little section of the track.
Yeah, the last 3 corners are always very tricky. A couple of long sweeping corners followed by quite a tight right-hander, but each corner gets progressively tighter. So you slowing the car down all the way through to get into that final corner. But we're ready to go racing. The safety car pulls off. Hogan Shrimpton is going to have control.
Green, 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 green.
And we get the green flag, and they are away pretty even off the front row, but Hogan's going to have the inside. Can Mitchell Sparrow sweep around the outside? They all make it through there cleanly. Sparrow has been able to keep it there. He's going to get the inside for turn 2, and he gets the job done. Moves into the lead. Hogan Shrimpton dropping back to P2 as they all filter through turn 2, and nice and clean so far. It's Mitchell Sparrow with the early lead, all settling down into single file now. Nice and early as they make their run through the downhill left-hander and then in towards Moss Corner, the very tricky double apex hairpin right-hander that leads them onto the back straight, and there's someone off big time there.
Could be Grant Bristow, I think. He's had a big incident. And there is live racing control, and if he's too damaged to get out, we may see the BMW MRP safety car out on track.
Oh, and he has got big damage to that left-hand corner. He can't get it off the wall, so I think he is going to have to call for a tow here. But Mitchell Sparrow leading the way through the last 3 corners. We are still green at the moment. Well, actually, I'll need you to tell me if we do go to safety car, Corey, because I've got the comms turned off.
Yes, I had it muted, and I'm just hearing a bit of chatter, so I think he has called for a tow. I just caught half of it as I unmuted the iRacing section, so we're just going to wait and see if a safety car is going to be called here.
Yeah, no sign of it yet, and they are going to have to make their way through that section of the track. Potentially race control deeming that with a large enough gap with the field not yet spread out that he realistically could have had his car recovered there under green flag conditions, or under a double wave yellow at least. Looks like his car has gone back to the pits now, so I think they've cleared him to tow without calling the safety car on that one.
Yes, they have indeed. He was cleared to tow. It was the timing. It looked like he towed right as they said it, so he's hovering over the button. Poor Grant. He'll have to get back out there though, and yeah, turn some laps. Great track for it, and this top 4 is sort of creeping a little bit away.
Yeah, Hogan Shrimpton losing that position to Mitchell Sparrow on the start, and now coming under pressure from Sean McNamara. Sean had a tricky night last week at Imola after starting well. It went downhill, but he's running in the podium positions again tonight, and he will hope he can keep it cleaner, putting a bit of pressure on Hogan Shrimpton as well to try and see if he can challenge for P2, but that gap just opening up to half a second now, and Hogan actually bringing the gap into Mitchell Sparrow as well, so a couple of tyres to get the tyres up to temperature, and it looks like he's ready to go on the attack again and try and fight for that race lead.
Yeah, last time by you could even split the guys lap times 1:12.8 for the top two and a 1:12.7 for Sean. So that was him catching Hogan on that last lap, but it's, yeah, they're all pretty even at the moment. And of course they're going to have to stop for some fuel to get home, maybe, if you can fuel save. I'd say with tonight being a little bit shorter, it might be a lot easier to finish the race in one tank of fuel.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the fuel limit that Sean has put in place is. Last week looked like there was a bit of saving needed to get there, but the no-stop strategy seemed to be the favourable strategy. Hogan Shrimpton just setting the fastest lap of the race there, taking that off Sean McNamara, who did that on lap 2. So 1:12.55, so Hogan's showing good pace at the moment. But Rob Carwood down in 6th, actually setting the fastest middle sector on that previous lap as well.
Yeah, he's currently running 5th in the championship too. 6th is Lee Swinney, Wayne Hartnell, James McKenzie and Daniel Turner and Dane Odith running out the top 10 in the championship points at the moment. Just 2 rounds in after tonight. Only 2 more to go, ladies and gentlemen, and the summer series will be kicking off, so make sure you keep an eye out for the sign-up form and all the details from the admin team coming out for that. Get involved for summer. Always a very popular summer league, isn't it, Shana?
It is, as Rob Carwood makes a move on Blake Greenhill, and you'd mentioned how the top 4 were not necessarily in the exact order, but the top 4 from the championship were the top 4 at the start of this race, and obviously Rob Carwood now moving into 5th makes that the top 5 in the race, or the top 5 in the championship. So consistent running from those guys at the moment.
Yeah, a couple of Corvettes just playing catch up to these BMWs. Maybe not as much straight line speed. They've got a couple more BMWs in behind them as well, with Steve Darren and Wayne Hartnell. Steve looking like he's putting a little bit of pressure on these boys now.
Yeah, Rob was able to get that move done, and then just had to go on the defensive a little bit to make sure he could hold on to it, and I think that's just checked things up a little bit and allowed Steve and Wayne to get into this fight, and Steve will certainly pounce on any opportunity that comes his way, and if he sees an opening he's going to go for it, and Blake's got to be careful that he doesn't lose another couple of spots here with Wayne also right on Steve's tail.
Yeah, I have to say Steve is very nice at BMW. I don't know if I've mentioned that's my favourite.
It was a pretty cool looking car, that BMW. I haven't done much running in the BMW GTE, but when I did test it I found, for my liking, the windscreen openings is actually a bit narrow.
It's a safe option, I reckon. It's always a safe option. It's always there or thereabouts, and if you're good, you're up the front, and we've seen that at the moment. 5 of them, or 6 of them in the top 10, and there's only 3 of them out, and there goes who was that?
Wayne Hartnell.
Wayne Hartnell.
He was putting the pressure on Steve and just locking the rears into Moss corner there, I think. Maybe initially going a bit deep and jumped on the brakes a little bit harder to make sure he didn't run into the back of Steve, and it was just all locked up on him, and unfortunately went around, and that's dropped him back to P12 now.
Yeah, you just got to gather yourself back up. It's one of those tracks where you've got to get in a rhythm, and here's one of the boards.
Someone's gone around, someone's in the wall. Matthew Gerard made the tyres come straight to pit lane. He'll be able to come in and get a fast repair and get some fuel. I won't imagine he's going to change tyres.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen any Porsches last week, so seeing Blake back here in a Porsche, and this is Matthew Gerard's first round back in the championship too, so bringing the Porsches out for a run.
Yeah, Matthew getting in. Didn't go up on the jacks, so no tyres taken. Gets the fastest pair in, adds some fuel. And speaking of Blake being in a Porsche, I know it's not the GT3s, but how weird is it seeing Blake running a GT car of any description that's not a BMW? I know he did it last season as well, did the Porsche for the GTEs, but it just doesn't seem right, does it?
No, you're right. It's a little bit odd, but he's out there doing his best, and that's all we can expect.
Absolutely, and receiving plenty of pressure from Steve Darren at the moment. Steve looking pretty racy and pretty keen to see if he can move up another spot.
It's probably safe to say these two are the most well-travelled pair in Supercars NZ, along with James McKenzie, Scott McKenzie is it as well. He's had a good excursion this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Blake running a little bit wide at turn 1. I did wonder whether he might have picked up a slowdown, but it looks like he's racing on there, so I racing not deeming that requires a slowdown penalty running wide at 1. Oh, just going a bit wide again, and there's somebody off. Was that Matt Gerard again? It looked like that car again.
Safety car has been called. Matthew Gerard has found himself in a bit of trouble and is called for a tow, Shano.
Okay, so we are going to have our first safety car of the GTE Championship. Matt Gerard.
Well, and we had to wait a race and a bit.
Absolutely. Matt Gerard coming to grief, bringing out the safety car. Mitch Sparrow dives to pit lane. Hogan Shrimpton and Sean McNamara going on with it. So they must be thinking that either they can't get home from here, or that the safety car period is going to allow them enough fuel to not have to take a pit stop.
Yeah, it's maybe needing a few safety cars for that scenario, maybe. And yeah, wow. But we might be able to unpack what happened with Matthew Gerard. So obviously the Porsche not agreeing with him. He's gone out there after taking a fast repair, cold tyres, and got himself caught up.
Yeah, we almost saw Blake Greenhill collect him as well. So it looks like literally on the outlet. Making his way down in towards Moss Corner and getting on the grass and then locking up and having no steering. Trying to get it back going, backs it up, and then you can see that front left is not connected to any steering mechanism on the car and just doesn't enable him to get that car turned around, and in the end he had to stop.
If we stay here, we're going to see Blake in a second, aren't we?
Looks like the impact might have knocked the rear left out of alignment as well, so it was a heavy impact. Here's the field coming through, and Blake does make contact.
What are the odds the only two Porsches in the field? Yeah, and he's suffered a little bit of damage for that too. Blake maybe had to come in, and he's taken his pit stop in a fast repair with that, I would say. He's lost a few spots down in P11 now.
So this is on board with Blake as he comes into Moss Corner. You can see runs wide, gets out onto the grass and didn't really know where to go. He was on the dirt, had the same problem that Matt had when he got onto the dirt there, just couldn't steer the thing, locked up and straight into him. And look at the right hand down on it. So it actually did some significant damage there as well. He'll probably be quite relieved that Matt was already suffering terminal damage there, because he would hate to think that he contributed to Matt having to take the tow. Obviously that was already the fact, so really no harm there on Matt's case, but Yeah, certainly unfortunate for Blake there.
So it looks like the safety car is going to come in this lap, Shano, and we'll be back green after this one.
That's very good to hear. Racing is what we love to see, and everybody's bunched up again, and we're getting ready to go racing once again, and plenty of excitement coming our way on the restart.
Yeah, all this action brought to you by MRP. And you've got still tonight and tomorrow to get yourself in on that 15% off all track racer products. And that's on the MRP simracing.co.nz. You can go there and you'll find something like that, and underneath it you're going to find some sweet deals for some chassis and all other little bits and pieces. Plenty of stuff on that website to get yourself ahead and get yourself a sim and get racing with us here at Supercars NZ.
Absolutely, and you can see a couple of the different track racer options there. You've got the tubular chassis on the left there, or on the right, the aluminium extrusion T-slot profile rig there. Those are all very easy slot together. They come with all the nuts and bolts you're going to need and all the parts to put it all together, and very good solid rigs as well.
Yeah, they can probably come assembled too. Barry's got a good team of guys and maybe girls that put everything together. And the safety car has pulled away from the field, Shano. Hogan Shrimpton has control, and we're going to go back racing with what? Well, we're going to have 35 minutes to go.
Yes, it's still plenty of time for the action to unfold in this one. Mitchell Sparrow has gone back to P9 with that pit stop, is obviously the first of the guys that have taken a pit stop. And a couple of different strategies to pan out here. We've got the guys who have pitted on the safety car, the guys who have not pitted at all yet, who I'm assuming are trying to go to the end without stopping, because if you thought you needed to, surely you would have taken that opportunity to get in.
Yeah, you snooze, you lose. And we're back racing. Hogan Shrimpton is away.
Good restart from Hogan as well. Opens up a half-second gap to Sean McNamara immediately. Sean will be wary of the fact that Aaron Goodrick is on his tail, looking to see if he can climb his way up into second, and closing in through turn 2. He's going to go pull out. He's going to be on the outside into 3. Not able to go anywhere with that, but certainly showing good pace at the moment. Maybe able to keep a bit more temp in those tyres under safety car, and Sean just struggling a little bit with temperatures at the moment on the restart. Good opportunity for Aaron to get the draft up the Mario Andretti straight as well.
Yeah, long straight and very high speed once you get to the end of it too.
Very, very high speed, and then it's about picking your braking marker over the crest into this long, sweeping right-hander. Keep it over to the right, flick it back to the left, and then get it slowed down for the slightly tighter final corner there. Aaron pushing it and running a little bit wide, dropping a wheel on the dirt, but able to keep the momentum up. Looks like Sean McNamara just starting to get those sides up to temp now and starting to settle in quite nicely.
Yeah, get that rhythm back after a little bit of a break following around the safety car. It sometimes catches you out. Everybody has made their way around nice and safely though too.
Rob Carwood, big moment there, good save, but Steve Darren getting an opportunity to walk by and take P4 there, so Rob losing a position, but man, that was a very good save because he was all out wide there, and Aaron Goodrick out wide in Moss Corner dropping a position to Steve Darren. So that's 2 positions Steve Darren's just picked up off other drivers' mistakes, moving into the podium positions now for Steve. But this pack very tight as they make their way up the Mario Andretti straight, and they're all going to be looking to see if they can get some improvement into the sweeping right hand here. There was contact. Aaron was 2 wheels on the grass on the way in there. I thought for sure that was going to end in tears, but they've all kept it together. and they all come out the other
100%.
side. Aaron Goodrick wide again though out of that final corner.
Giving it your all. That was it's definitely not a corner you want to go too wide around.
Well, when they were bumping on the run down there and Aaron was 2 wheels in the grass, I could not see them making it through there, but they did it.
It looks like Sean's managing to keep fairly close to Hogan too, about half a second in that, and then 1.5 seconds back to Steve Darren at the moment in third, and then there is a train in behind there, right down to James McKenzie. Pretty much the top 10, all within under 10 seconds, under 8 seconds, actually under 7 seconds behind the leader. How's our
nice.
biggest movers?
We can certainly bring that data up. Movers and groovers, Steve Darren up 5 spots is our biggest mover at the moment.
That's a handy effort, and he's moved himself into a podium position too, so got to be extra happy with that.
Yeah, I reckon he will be, and a bit of clear air in front of him, and he's actually been able to pull away from Aaron Goodrick a little bit as well. So we saw Aaron looking racy on the restart. I wonder if maybe he's gone a little bit too hard on those tyres, and he's maybe put a bit too much temperature in them off that restart, and just needs to let them cool off a little bit there.
Yeah, cooked them up going too hard. He was racing with Sean McNamara that first lap, wasn't he? And obviously a little mistake has bumped him back. And here we are, Dan Turner, and he's in a bit of a battle with Josh Thompson.
Steve Vella.
Oh, Steve Vella, right. He's just got round him.
Yeah, he's just put a move on Steve Vella there, moves into P12. Steve looking to come back though, he's going to be on the outside when they get to the next proper corner. And Dan able to keep that position for the time being. Oh, Rob Carwood dropping down the order. He has made contact with the concrete barrier on the left of the track there. Waits for everybody to come past and then rejoins. Oh, he's struggling with the turn in that. It's a big damage to the front left. Gets it into pit lane.
Maybe Wayne Hartnell might have been involved in that too, maybe. I did see him off track at the same time. Maybe he had to avoid. Maybe a little bit of avoidance.
We are seeing, or I am seeing, crash data on Wayne Hartnell around the same time as I'm seeing Rob Carwood off track, so I can bring up a replay of that once I've got it set up and ready to roll. I don't think the onboard's going to tell us much, so we'll jump to the TV1 camera and see what's happened here. And certainly in close proximity, Rob losing the rear, makes contact with the barrier. So Wayne might have actually been not completely separate, I think related, but potentially, as you say, maybe taking avoiding action and then come to grief. Oh, just got clipped, I think, on the run through there. Going around up onto the curb, and then just as Rob Carwood had to wait patiently, Wayne had to wait for the field to come through before he could rejoin, but not as much damage as what Rob had there, so he will be thankful that he can at least carry on his merry way now.
Yeah, always very, very lucky in that situation.
Dane Noda heading up a bit of a battle pack at the moment. He's got Tom McCall 3.5 tenths of a second behind him. Tom getting into that draft currently. He'll look to see if he can make a move into the final set of corners. Couldn't quite decide which side of the track he wanted to go for. Went to the outside, nothing nothing going there, so just have to sit in behind for the moment. Thanks to be able to move down the inside to the final corner. That's always a tricky spot. It's not a very long braking zone and it's not very far from the previous corner, and he couldn't quite make it work. Probably just cost him a little bit of momentum as well going offline there, but he gets a run through turn one, gets down the inside into two, and very hard in the position that Dane was in there to stick on around the outside of that corner, the way it drops away and goes a little bit off camber.
Yeah, definitely drops away, doesn't it? That's one way to explain that corner. A bit like this one, it approaches you at a great rate of knots.
It sure does.
And as you can see there, if you make a mistake on the exit and try and take too much curb, you do get plenty of air there.
Yeah, big curb out of Moss corner there, and Wayne Hartnell going side by side with Alan Scott.
There's been a change up at the front. Aaron Goodrick has found his way into third. Steve Darren's actually dropped a couple of positions, so I think something may have happened, maybe a mistake. He hasn't lost too much ground. All three of them all fairly close together still.
Mitch Sparrow, making great progress since putting under safety car into P4 already, but yeah, Steve dropping back there, so interestingly, the most recent data I've got on Steve is him passing Aaron Goodrick. Oh, I do have Aaron passing Steve Darren, actually, so this may well tell the story. We'll just stick with this because Mitchell Sparrow going around the outside of Aaron Goodrick there, moving back into the podium spots. So he's taken that pit stop and looking very racy. Certainly won't be saving fuel, and I wonder if some of these other guys are on a bit of a fuel saving mission at the moment, and Mitchell's just taking advantage knowing that he's taken that fuel on board and he's got plenty to get him to the end of the race. But hopefully this is going to tell us what happened to Steve Darren here. So he had those two in close proximity behind. Aaron goes to the outside, gets the move done there, and then I think we're just going to see, actually he's run a little bit wide there, and that's opened the door for Mitch Sparrow to get through. So a mistake coming that allowed Mitch Sparrow through, but I think he was going to probably round him up sooner or later anyway, and then that mistake just, I guess, brought the inevitable a little bit earlier.
Yeah, got there eventually. It's time for Mitch Sparrow though to eat into this 3.8 second gap to Sean McNamara, and he hasn't let Hogan Shrimpton get away either, so less than a second in that.
Yeah, sticking with him. Close enough to pick up some draft, which will help him with the fuel saving mission. If they are needing to save fuel still. Just gone over halfway through the race as well, so certainly we know if they were to pit now, then that would definitely well and truly get them to the end. But I mean, the pit stop times that we're seeing are all at or just under 10 seconds, with the exception of Grant Bristow, who sat in there for a minute and a quarter. I think that was him towing at the start of the race. On board with Sean McNamara as I don't think he's really chasing Hogan at the moment. I think he's quite happy just sitting there in the draft and using that opportunity to save a bit of fuel. Going driver's eye here, we can see he did have all the shift lights lit up there, so he seems to be using the full rev range. Doesn't sound like there's a lot of lift and coast going on either. So I don't think he's necessarily actively saving fuel, but certainly sitting in that draft on Hogan Shrimpton will help him if he does need to save a little bit.
I think he did a good job of calculating the amount of fuel. Like, if you can get there with a little bit of fuel saving, but Mitch said last week he needed to save a couple of laps worth of fuel, didn't he? And that is actually quite a bit.
Yeah, it is quite hard to save that amount and stretch the stint by a couple of laps. Certainly takes a very conscious effort over the course of the race to be able to stretch that sort of margin out, and then with that comes a not insignificant pace reduction as well.
Yeah, Aaron Goodrick in the lane, and he's dropping down, currently in 12th. So, and a short stop. So that's those guys that stopped under safety car have all got ahead of Aaron Goodrick. So that's a little bit of work for him to do.
Yeah, so was that him throwing up the white flag on the no-stop strategy, deciding that he can't make it and has decided to get in, take some fuel now? Do wonder as well whether they're all actually still planning on making a stop, but maybe those guys that didn't stop under the first safety car are gambling on another one. I really don't know. Oh, as Aaron goes wide,
Good
runs
job
through
to
the
keep
dirt.
that off the fence.
Yeah, he did do well there to avoid any damage, but certainly plenty of time lost. Steve Darren in the lane now as well, so I think we're starting to see that some of those guys that didn't pit under safety car are confirming to us that they do need to come in and get some fuel now.
Yeah, 4 cars in the lane, all taking some fuel. So yep, I think who we got left? Leaf Swinney, Sean McNamara and Hogan Shrimpton all need
Oh,
to
that's
probably...
tight on pit exit between Steve Darren and Josh Thompson. Steve just holds him off there, but very efficient stop there for Josh. Just 5 seconds compared to 12.58 stopped for... No, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong numbers there. 3.9,
Yeah, no, that's right.
3.9 for Josh and... Oh no, sorry, yeah, no, 5 for Josh and 12.58 for Steve, so...
Dan
Josh
Turner
is...
with the 3.9, that was
Yeah.
that one. That is quick, not as quick
Yeah.
as Matthew Gerard's 3.18.
Wow.
That was a fast repair and a flash of fuel.
So interesting. I think Dan Turner's a little bit of an outlier with that 3.9 as well, because most of the BMWs are closer to that 8-9 second mark. But I think the Fords may be a more fuel efficient car and needing less fuel, because James McKenzie... Well, actually James... Hang on, the names are all moving around here. So James was 8.3, but yeah, Josh in the Ford 5 seconds, so... No, maybe it's just Josh doing a good job to conserve fuel and need less to get to the end of the race, or I hope for his sake he hasn't short fueled himself.
Yeah, good work from the young fella if he does, because it could pay off. It's going to put him up a couple of spots. He's got up 5 spots from where he started, so Alan Scott up 8 spots. Race leader, and that gives it to Hogan, Mitchell Sparrow now, and he's going to have a healthy lead.
You see everybody's pitted now. Blake Greenhall has moved into the podium positions and now into P2 as well. Sean McNamara was able to come out in P4, so as long as Hogan has a reasonably efficient pit stop, I think he should maintain a podium position here. So not losing out too much. We can see Sean about 2.5 seconds back and similar pit stop times, so potentially a slow outlet for Sean there, but maybe a result of the tyres just cooling off a little bit in the pit lane, and he might be able to close that gap up now that Hogan's been in.
In true Blake Greenhall fashion, he has been out of action for quite some time. He's jumped back in his sim, finds himself in a podium position. It's mind-boggling how people can do that, because, yeah, wow, good effort. Absolutely good effort.
Yeah, very talented driver is Blake Greenhill, and find himself running P2 and plenty of fresh air all around him. Nailed the strategy, didn't he? Got in under safety car and then just did the job to put himself in that position to be P2 on the road once those who didn't put under safety car finally came in and took that fuel. I think the likes of Hogan and Sean will be praying for a late safety car here, giving them the opportunity for everybody to bunch up, and they will be going on the attack if that's the case.
On the attack, speaking of on the attack, next week, V8s, they're heading to Laguna Seca.
Ooh.
That is going to be wicked, and we head to Spa for GTE next week. The run home to summer is fantastic. Laguna Seca for the V8s, then Spa, and then the final week, Imola for the V8s, Long Beach for the GTEs. I can't wait, Shane.
So basically what you're telling me is next week in the V8s we've got the best downhill corner in the world, and in the GTEs we've got the best uphill corner in the world.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Obviously referring to the downhill corkscrew at Laguna Seca there. Very challenging, low speed corner that just drops away unbelievably. And of course at Spa, the high speed uphill Eau Rouge, absolute commitment to try and keep it pinned all the way through there. And actually I'll correct myself, because Eau Rouge is just the left-hander at the bottom of the hill. The next two corners on the way up the hill are called Radion.
Yep, not familiar with the name. But what a run home. And this week's racing, thanks to Roberts Haulage Limited and a logging company, carting all those logs to the ports and getting them probably turned into furniture. Maybe you brought something off T-Mill, might have come from some wood out of the middle of New Zealand somewhere. But a big shout out to Rippy for keeping us going here. Robinson Haulage, our weekly sponsor.
Things getting a little bit spread out for the most part at the moment, but Wayne Hartnell doing battle with Dane Noda. We certainly need to get a PSR paint made for that BMW, because it doesn't look like Dane when he's not in a purple livery.
Yeah, some things just don't seem right. It's just a generic paint or something, is it?
I think I saw hybrid race simulations on the side of the car earlier. Might be able to get a better view with, yeah, there we go, hybrid racing simulators. So I believe that is an Australian brand. I think I'm actually in their Discord, so they make custom wheels and other sim racing accessories.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And plenty of companies like that out there now, making cool little knick-knacky stuff. Anything could be made out of 3D printing, and now they're doing it 3D printing with alloy and stuff like that too, which is pretty crazy to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Dane just making a little bit of a mistake. I think he let Wayne go and then just ran a little bit wide through the final set of corners and dropped back a little bit. Steve Downs dropped back behind Josh Thompson, but putting the pressure on to try and find a way back around. Actually, I think he's had a little bit of an off track just recently by the look of the data. And I think we're going to see him drop a couple of positions with a small mistake here. Oh, and it is a small mistake, but a costly mistake because he just runs that little bit wide at Moss Corner. Does well to keep it off the wall and get back on track, but yeah, certainly a big gap opening up there, and the fact that he's been able to close that back in, and actually we've missed the pass. I should have stuck with the live pictures. We'll go back and have a look, and I'll probably miss something else now. We'll go back to live and he'll be back behind him now.
Yeah, lucky we can watch a replay of that too. Making good use of the draft up the straight, gets it done before the corner. Well, probably close to the braking marker, isn't it? Fairly close there.
Yeah, put himself on the outside and enabled him to carry that momentum into the corner and go that little bit deeper on the brakes. Also braking on the clean line compared to Josh, and that gave him what he needed to do to get down there.
Mitch Sparrow in the way.
Yeah, I don't know why I went to the replay of that, because I could very easily have just clicked on this. I did see the data that Mitchell Sparrow would enter pit lane, and I thought was that in error, but no, he is in the lane. So taking a splash of fuel. He's still going to come out in the lead. So maybe that's why some of those guys didn't pit under safety car. And actually, Hogan's moved past Blake Greenhill into P2. So is Blake actually needing to save a little bit now? So that safety car might have been a little bit too early to get enough fuel in the car. And we'll see Mitch Sparrow have to come in and take a splash. Blake Greenhill might be going on the strategy of trying to save that little bit to get there.
Yeah, that gap was, I think it was around 5 seconds, and Hogan ate away at that over 2 or 3 laps. And yeah, got the job done, got around him. And now he's got a Sean McNamara. He's got a Sean Mac in the mirror.
We do have data on Hogan passing Blake, so we can go back and have a look at that replay in a moment, but I just wanted to jump on board with Blake and have a listen. I think he is saving a bit, eh? Certainly Sean's closed in big time through there, and it did sound like Blake had quite a big lift. Kept it pinned quite deep into turn 1 though. Not sure.
Playing on your mind, having somebody in the mirror, and Sean's just going to sit there. He's not going to try anything. Going to wait for an opportunity.
Oh yeah, look how early he's shifting. He's barely getting the first shift lights up on the wheel before he hits that next gear, so he is saving big time. And Sean's got down the inside and moves into the play, and Blake trying to give him room. You talked about getting air off that curb if you take too much. And that was a perfect demonstration of that by Blake.
You've got to be too careful not to damage the car.
So this was Hogan getting that position off Blake. He's used the draft up the Mario Andretti straight and pulls out, gets alongside, and by the time they get up to the braking zone, it's going to be a pretty comfortable pass for Hogan there.
He backed out pretty easy, didn't he?
They did. I guess when the driver that you're racing against is having to shift as early as Blake is to save that fuel, it makes it a little bit easier, especially when you're at the draft of that as well.
Yeah, so Blake is actually he's the last of the guys that came in that safety car. So everybody else that came in that safety car has come in, got a little top up of fuel.
Matt Gerard also put it on lap 8, still hasn't been in again, although he's been through the lane 3 times.
Oh, so that's Porsche's doing Porsche things.
Could be. Matt is a lap down and obviously was the reason for that safety car as well, so that's probably had a factor, well, it certainly contributed to him having to take that stop then. And maybe just by virtue of being a lap down, that has enabled him to have enough fuel, not doing the extra lap that Blake's done at this point. But certainly Blake trying to save the fuel. We'll wait and see if he can make it. Not too far to go now. We just took down to 6 minutes remaining.
Yeah, just like that. 50 minutes of racing is nearly up.
And of course, I've seen Blake in the past able to do great things when it comes to saving fuel. How close was Steve to running off the track there at a spot where you do not want to run off? As soon as you put a wheel off the track there, you just keep going wider and wider and wider on the grass. But he's looking racy as Steve, closing in on Leith Swinney and keen to put some pressure on and see if he can move up into P7.
Yeah, big fan of these cars, Steve. Loves GTEs, loves that BMW. BMW top 3 as well.
It is all BMW top 3, so the German's very well represented with the Porsche in 4th as well.
Yeah, we've got one Porsche, one Corvette, one Ford and one Ferrari in the top 10. Or 2 Fords.
Yeah, 5 BMWs in the top 10. Certainly the popular choice this season in the GTEs.
Yeah, the MRP Track Racer Hairdresser Cup.
Even the safety car is a BMW. Slightly lower model, but it's a BMW.
That's probably more a hairdresser car than the M8, that's for sure. Plenty of aero on these cars, and that'll definitely be tested next week at Spa.
Yeah, nice high-speed circuit there at Spa in the Ardennes Forest in Belgium.
Yeah, you reckon there'll be no lifting through a rouge, will there? Be just flat knackers.
Should be plenty of fun for all the guys out there.
Yeah, hang on. If I remember rightly, the BMW was terrible there last time.
You must have a better memory than I, because I can't remember anything about it.
Yeah, I remember maybe Steve through on Rouge lost it over to the right. It was somebody else. I think maybe BJ had a bit of a rough time there, and that's one of his favourite tracks too.
Yeah, actually, I do vaguely remember that now that you mention it.
I do have a good memory.
Clearly.
Yeah, don't ever cross me because I'll never forget.
Matt
Winding
Gerard.
down.
Matt Gerard on the comeback after a couple of early incidents. He is just in behind Alan Scott, looking to pick up or move up into P14.
He was behind Blake before, so he's got around Blake. Where's Blake now in the order? He's running around in 4th position, so Matt's got the pace to be up there. He just hasn't had that night. He's had one of those nights.
Wayne Hartnell making a late second stop here.
Yeah, wee bit of a splash and dash with a couple of minutes to go. What's
Oh, going up on the jacks
Mitchell?
as well, so he's forgotten to turn the tyres off, and that is going to cost him big time. He's not even going to have room to get the tyres close to up to temperature with less than 3 minutes remaining. Or less than 2 minutes remaining even, a minute and a half to go. Mitchell Sparrow sweeps by, he'll get this one, and I think one more in. Short lap around here.
Yeah, it definitely looks like Wayne's got himself a fresh set of tyres. Mitch Barrow though, it's 3.3 second lead at the moment back to Hogan Shrimpton, and just sort of holding on. He's been a little bit faster last time by than Hogan, so it's just a matter of just trying to keep going. If he loses a few seconds, it's not going to make too much of a difference yet. A few tenths, sorry.
Yeah, and he's just cruising. Well, probably not cruising because he does have to be aware that Hogan is there. If he backs off too much, that gap's going to come down, but certainly comfortable enough at the moment as he comes around and starts the final lap. You can see the white flag in the air.
Works out pretty good. We're at about 57 minutes.
Mitch Sparrow on the final lap now, making his way through the sweeping corners in the first half of this lap. Hogan Shrimpton closing to within 2 seconds now, so I think Mitch has backed it off and probably just keeping an eye on that gap and make sure he just keeps enough. Wouldn't imagine he's having to do saving now that he's been to the pits twice.
Yeah, you don't want to find yourself in a race with, a quarter of a lap to go.
So he's just got a few corners left to negotiate now and brings it through that sweeping right-hander back to the left and comes down into the final corner, and Mitch Sparrow makes it 2 from 2 in the GTE Championship, wins at MoSport. Hogan Shrimpton comes home for second position there. 10 second gap back to Sean McNamara, who brings it home in third. Picking up a podium tonight, Aaron Goodrick has just found his way around Blake Greenhill on the final lap, takes P4, and I think Blake coasting to the line, maybe coughing across the line. Steve Darren gets there in 5th, Leith Swinney in 6th, Blake just holding on for 7th there eventually, so he was out of fuel on the last lap. Josh Thompson P8, James McKenzie coming home in 9th, making his way through there now. Dan Turner is going to round out our top 10. Dane Notiff, out of fuel as well in 11th. So, wow, all these guys look to be out of fuel, or did they finish a lap down? I think so. I think these guys have all. No, Dane hasn't finished, nor has Steve. Steve getting a push. Dane potentially about to receive a push. Good sportsmanship there, guys that have taken the checkered flag are getting in there. That pushing hasn't worked out. Dane getting the push now. Steve very much coasting after his pusher has just been sent skyward.
Skyward is an understatement.
So that's Sean McNamara giving Dane the push there.
Tell you what, we've got Mitch in the waiting room. I'll drag him in. We'll have a quick yarn, and we'll keep it sharp. Mitch Barrow, you managed to keep it at the pointy end of the field there and brought it home P1. Well done, mate.
Yeah, it's good to go back to back in the GTE series. I really wanted a bit of redemption after Tuesday night in the supercar. I made a mistake on the pit exit and cost myself a drive through and then lost the race by 2 seconds. So I wanted to come back here tonight and get the job done. So pretty happy to walk away with another good bag of points and roll on to wherever next week is.
Yeah, you backed yourself another 70 points, so 140 points for the season. And Hogan Shrimpton, he's about 6 points behind you. He will be after tonight, and the top 4 will be unchanged, I'd say. We have to keep this short tonight, though, my friend. Anybody you want to thank?
Just all the same usual people, all my sponsors that allow me to do this. I'm in a really good form, in a run of form at the moment on the sim, so pretty happy with that. And to jump in any car and be fast is awesome. So yeah, all my sponsors that allow me to spend so much time on here, and yeah, can't thank them enough, and everyone that supports me. Thanks very much.
Well done, mate. We'll definitely see you back out there next week for Spa.
Lovely. Thanks, guys. Awesome. Cheers. Bye.
And we are already over time by a couple of minutes, so thanks Corey for joining me in the lounge. Thanks everybody at home for tuning in. Thanks Robertson Haulage Limited and MRP, and thanks for all our drivers for coming out tonight. We will see you all next time.
Since I was a kid, I've been the